Today we will be looking at retopology and texture baking in Blender. So first we'll start with instant meshes. It's not Blender, but it's open source. I think it's open source. Anyway, it's free program to use for automatic retopology. Now, automatic retopology sometimes is good enough. It all depends on the intent of what you're planning to use your model for. You know, if it's a character face and it's gonna be animated and so on, maybe that's not the best option, and you would need to go with a manual retopology. Actually, there are some tools for even that, but of course you could use like if it's a static object, it doesn't have to change to deform in any way. Not talking about just rotating the object or moving the object. So if it only moves, rotates, but doesn't change its shape, it's enough to have automatic. It might be enough to have automatic retopology tool to create a low poly object for displaying on a web or in game engine or whatnot. So there are many tools. In ZBrush you have this decimation master, I think it's called. 3D Max has like 3 modifiers: optimizer, pro optimizer, multi-res. There are other tools, but for Blender I didn't find any automatic ones, so we will use instant meshes. So if you Google instant meshes on GitHub, you find its code if you go that route. And if you're using Windows, you just download precompiled binary. So I already did it, but I forgot the folder, so I'll do it now. And we have instant meshes. I can extract the file. It's just one executable. Get out of here. Oh, sorry. Shit, sorry, that's wrong. No, get out of here. Instant meshes, here it is. So we have this interface here. We open our mesh. Let me grab some mesh here. So it will take some time to load, I suppose. It's a big mesh. It's an archaeological location. It's a underwater shipwreck. Well, ship. It's a small boat. Archaeologists found in the lake, and it was created using photogrammetry. And so we will start. What we want is to decide, do we want triangles, quads, and so on. So I prefer quads. It's nicer to look at. This is my target count. So let's say I will, for this object we don't really need a lot. The intent of this object is display on in Sketchfab or some other online website. So 8,000, that's probably enough. 5,000 might be, let's say 5,000. So, and what we can do is we hit solve. It tries to kind of detect the direction of polygons, or we can change it. So I think it's with a brush. Is it? We can kind of draw, and now you'll see it will change the direction of our polygon. Put it here. Oh, sorry. Let's look around the model. So I will draw one more here, kind of drawing the direction of polygons. And I want, not sure if it's correct. I will zoom in and have a look. What have I done? Yeah, probably that's. And this is kind of the density of polygons we could kind of increase, solve again. Do we need to redraw? No, I think it still follows. And I hit solve. So it's too much. 16,000. I will go with lower number still. 6,000. Solve. And we'll export the mesh. So one thing to note is that if this model used to have UV coordinates, they're all destroyed. I mean, maybe we'll get more. Maybe we'll have a little bit more polygons. It's a bit too little. 7,000, 11,000, okay. Solve. I think the direction of our polygon still is with my input. So what I was saying, we lost the UVs using this tool, but anyways, we will make UVs manually in Blender anyways. So this was in Asveos Lake. Boat, I'll call it a boat, though it's a small boat. I'm not sure what's the name. Oh, boat. I'll just write like that. Oh, and as you see in many open source things, you do have to write .obj. They're stupid enough, can't just automatically. What's the point of actually choosing the format if you do actually need to type in obj? Stupid. Anyways, Asveya .obj. No, I'm not writing. Asveya. Let's say it's instant meshes .obj. And now we will go to Blender. Let's get rid of the cube. Import. Again, I do have to instantly know the format I'm choosing. Why, if I forgot what the format was and I know where it is, why do we have to choose it here? Anyways, bitching about Blender. So where was it? It was here. And we'll grab instant meshes. Asveya instant meshes object. And we have our object. Now immediately we see that we have some holes, and we will fix that. Edit mode, and might be I will create some faces manually. Oh, sorry, it's not shift in Blender to select many things. F for create a face, and shift. And coming from 3D Max, shift in 3D Max means something else, so it's always confusing. Jump between shortcuts. Again, I hit Control instead of Shift. Face. And now so okay, Control works sometimes as well. Face. Maybe I should connect this, but let's be nice. Let's make it nice and connected. Do we want triangles? Let us have some triangles. Yes, so Control seems to make a nice selection as well. I don't really understand what exactly it selects, but well, it works. Now this edge, yeah, let's just like that. Oops, that's not nice. It's better, even though it's a triangle. Not everyone likes triangles, but in this case, triangles don't harm. Sorry. F, and let's grab those and F again. Okay, so we close this one. What else should we close? I remember there was one more hole here at the back. So of course, when you're doing photography underwater in the lake, it's really difficult. You always have, very bad visibility, lots of stuff in water. So it's kind of expected to have some problems in the model, or in the resulting model, I suppose. Let's do like that, and like that, like that. Oops. Okay, and just a couple of cuts. Might be already here. It might be here. Okay, so we have our low poly model ready. Now we'll need to do some UV coordinates. Okay, so next thing what we want to do is to make UV coordinates for this model. Of course, we could be more precise and, let's say, I don't know, fill these areas here, or I don't know, maybe it looks better if it's not, if it's more like this. Anyways, we would have to kind of make a final version of it before we make UVs. Oh, and I see some problems here. As you see, instant meshes, oops, and didn't made a good job right here. So of course we should fix all these issues here. You see what a problematic vertex we have here. That's better. This goes in. So we would need to find all these problematic areas. Of course, this is not a good mesh here. So it's always with these automatic tools, you know, they might work, and then you'll have, even if they work, they'll have lots of problems to fix. Actually, even here looks as if normals are not correct. I don't remember how to fix normals in Blender, but let's try, just in case, let's try doing that. So I suppose we have to select all the model. So I hit A, yes, A. And now I don't know how to, we need to do something like recalculate normals. Maybe it's under mesh, normals, recalculate. Again, I'm not sure what's inside and what's outside. So I'll just do both of them. Okay, and now I'm not gonna fix too many other problems. I will just start doing UVs. So what are UVs? UVs is a flattened out version of the model that is lays out on a flat surface, so we can have a flat texture covering it. So I always say that we have to think about it just as a cloth, as a t-shirt, let's say, and in order to, you know, draw on a t-shirt, you have to put it flat on a table in order to draw, and of course you cannot have areas overlapping each other. So you'll need to use scissors and cut areas. So here, for using scissors, we can just have selections. We can select an area, we go to UV editing, so we have area selected, and we can just have some sort of projection for this area. Is it here? No, it's not here. It should be here, UVs, and we can have a cube, cylinder, or whatever other projections, or we could unwrap. Usually unwrapping is the best thing to do. That depends on the situation. We are not gonna go to more details this time. And I see we have some sort of hole here. Wonder what is that? Okay, this is a bad polygon right here. But again, with this instant meshes, we have a lot of them. I'm not gonna fix it now. So now I don't see my polygons, so I need to hit this one. I'm not sure why it's not automatically on. Keep UV edit mode mesh selection in sync. No idea why we are supposed to do that, but okay, let's have a look where these vertices are. So this, for some reason, is not here. So that's a problem. We should have it here. I'm not sure I want to do that. So here we have this face. We would need to actually manipulate it and put it right there where the hole is. But I guess I'm not gonna do that. I will try to just do as much of automatic for today without manual work at all, if that's possible. Okay, so to go to do everything automatically, we'll select the model. Is it A to select? And we will use something called Smart UV Project, I guess. So it should kind of automatically divide areas and flatten and unfold them automatically. Well, mostly probably depending on the angle of polygons. Let's have a look. So yeah, the angle limit 66. And let's just try doing that. Okay, is it very optimal layout? Not so much. I mean, we are wasting all this texture area. Yes, we could try pack islands, but I'm not sure if it would do anything else than this other tool. Yeah, it's just the same. Or did I need to select it? Pack islands? Yeah, might be it's better, but we see some problems here, so I'll just undo. It's not much better. I'll just undo that. We'll just have this as it is right now. So we have a model. It has UV coordinates, and now we can start working with our baking process. So first of all, of course, I would need to have my original model, my poly model. I'll import it as well. Hopefully I didn't move this one, and it's in the same, orientation and same size. It's probably OBJ. I think that's the original. Okay, so now we have two models. This is our low poly model. I will just have a look at it. I'm not sure, maybe it's the distances between UV islands, maybe it's too close, so I'll try to do it again. And the only different thing that I'll do is have a little bit of margin, this island margin, so the distance between islands. I'm not sure if it's in units or in pixels. Let's see what it does. Oh yeah, that's too much. Smart TV, and yeah, try that. Yeah, that looks better. So now, of course, the smaller the texture you have, and if you plan to change the texture sizes when you will have textures, you might have problems if the distances between those islands are too small. Actually, I might want to have a little bit bigger distance. Let's type in the value. Oh, not everything is selected. Oh, that's not good. I want to select everything. Let's do it again. Okay, that's probably better. Okay, so we have this low poly and we have this high poly. This is high poly. Is it? Yes. And if I were to go in, it would have original UVs from I don't remember where this model is generated in Agisoft Metashape, probably. So you see we have lots of stuff here. Anyways, so now our task is to transfer texture from one model to another one. So the high poly version, which you see right now, that's a high poly. We don't need UVs at the moment. I guess layout, modeling, I don't, whichever. So you see it has holes and it has much more detail than compared to our low poly thing. So what we want to do is actually to make sure that we have a texture, the original texture. So we go to materials and it already has its default material, and I'll make sure that under base color, not sure where, but somewhere we need to stick in a texture. That's called, what's that? Base color, input, texture, image texture, I suppose. Image texture. And now we open it. I have it in the same folder. It's this texture right here. And if we go to shading, we should see it apply. Yes, it is applied. You see it's just totally green because it's in the lake. It's in the lake. One other thing I'm not sure I need to do, but just in case in other softwares you would need to do that, I would want to have my model shaded smooth, or whatever it's called. How do we do that? Shade smooth. Yeah, we didn't need to do in Blender, I'm not sure. We do the same here. It's probably already smooth shading. Nice. Okay. Yeah, you see now both models here. You see how much more detail we have in this high poly version, all the dents, all the bumps, all of these things. And we want to transfer this surface information through the texture to the low poly object. Okay, so it's important to have your low and high poly meshes one on top of each other. They're in the same kind of position, in the same location. Next thing, we're gonna change the rendering engine because we cannot do it on a EV, on a GPU renderer. We want to go with cycles, the CPU renderer. That's number one, and probably we need to add lights. I'm not sure about that, but let's just go ahead and add lights. Light, and I will go with area light. I would like to have it as big as possible because I would have more diffused light. Light size. Isn't that the size? Yeah, it's the size. So we'll have a couple of big soft boxes. Let me kind of have one light here. What's it? Shift D to copy things? I'm not sure. Yeah. So let's have another one. Oops, what am I doing? I don't know. Want to rotate thing? Yes. So we'll have one like that. Yeah, more lights. Nice. So, and I'll have a couple of more lights. Just to kind of have as diffused lighting as possible. Maybe I'll just copy this one as well. Let's make sure it looks to our boat. Yeah, let's hope it's fine. So we changed the rendering engine. We added a couple of lights. Okay, so now let's open UV editor and let's grab our low poly model. That's this one. Go to edit mode. Okay, these are my new UVs. Not very good positioning because the empty space here, we should actually kind of, the goal is to use all the texture area as much as possible. Anyways, now we'll create a new image. And now, of course, it's important, the resolution, our big resolution. So, of course, it's easier to go from, if you have 8K texture, it's not as hard to make 4K texture. It's almost impossible to make 8K texture from 4K texture. So I will go immediately with 8K. What is it? 18192, I think. I hope I'm not correct. I'm correct. 8192. Let's hope that's the correct size. And it's always a good idea to name things properly. So this is our color. So we could say albedo, diffuse, or just a color. And it's a low poly. Low poly. So we have proper naming. Okay, next we go to shading. We get out of edit mode. We are still in low poly model. So this is the texture of our the material for our low poly object. If you don't have one, you can always create a new material here. Yeah, plus right here, I think. So we have a material right here for our low poly. It's instant meshes. So the low poly one. So next thing we do is we get our new texture. Image texture, and it should be the one we just created. Color, low poly. Here we have it. Okay, so now we'll bake the high poly texture to a low poly. So what we need to do is to select the high poly model, shift select the low poly model. So we will be baking color, low poly. Now, under rendering, we need to find bake, and we choose select to active. It has some options. We will soon see what it does. And we choose color for starts. For first we do color, so it's diffuse. Here we see that we have max ray distance. Now it's set to 0. And if you hit bake now, we will wait a long time, and you'll see that we have this weird thing that we have lots of holes in our rendered model. What happened? So basically you see that the model is kind of extruding, the high poly model is extruding through the low poly model. So we want to have this array distance that it kind of encompasses, takes all this height. So I'll just grab 0.1, and we will need to test, to try to test how it works. We could also have a separate model to use as a cage. So that's more advanced kind of version. Let's go with 003. Let's try. So bake. And now we see our CPU soon will start working. Instead of using max array distance, we could as well use cage. And here I just copied my low poly model and added a modifier called displace, kind of to encompass all these extended areas of high poly mesh. So we could use it as a cage. How do we do it? So again, select. So where are we? Rendering. Here, cage, and we grab this. In my case, it's 001. Now I will edit, and again do the same procedure. Select high poly, select low poly, and then I'll make a color map once more. Diffuse. Bake. So using the cage instead of using arrays. Okay, so we got our textures, and if in this case we are having actual archaeological dig from archaeological site, if you remember, at the back of our ship, of this wreck, there was empty space. So we might want to indicate that this is not the texture that it's a red, somehow that we don't have this, because we don't want to fake actual data. But if we want to go with, cool looking ship and not as much as scientific thing to observe, we just want to have a nice ship, we could go with content aware fill and just fill in those gaps. So how do you do it? Control click, you select all the pixels in this layer. Now I invert those, select inverse. Now I would go select expand a little bit, 2 pixels or so, and I would go with content aware. Where is it? Edit, fill, and content aware. I don't actually use it because it creates detail, here in these areas, but I don't really need detail. So I go with this free plugin from Flaming Pear, and I do Solidify C. And the only difference from content aware is that in the middle you'll see that it's kind of blurry color, nothing else, and it compresses better, I would think. We could as well. Oops, sorry, I don't want to make a mask. I want to make it lighter. We could, change it, make it lighter. So we would do the same with AO, ambient occlusion. And I'm not gonna touch my normal map. Okay, and the last thing is to upload the model to some viewer like Sketchfab or Game Engine or wherever you want to use it. So in this case, we'll just apply existing materials the textures that we created. So first I position the model properly, something like that. Looks good. And now we'll use, for base color, we'll use a texture that we generated, color, loading the map. Now we have a map, and you see it's all flat and without detail, so our high poly model looks way better. But we shall, metal 0, roughness 1 or white, but we'll use normal map that should show some of the details from high poly model on our low poly. So you see, it looks almost as if we have all these details here, all this vegetation on the ship wreck. So that's normal map, which makes those bumps here. You see, they react to the light, of course. And then, of course, we'll plug in also ambient occlusion for all real-time engines, and that's a good thing to use. And that's about it. This is our shipwreck model from a Lake Asaya archaeological, I would say dig, but they don't dig because you have too much dirt on the surface of a lake, so we don't want to dig, I suppose. I don't know. Okay, that's it.